In 2017, Conor McGregor became a household name. He was the shooting star of the MMA world, the true prodigy. He was the first double champ in UFC history. Between 2011 and 2017, he had won 17 out of 18 fights, something which is incredibly difficult to do. He would later fight Floyd Mayweather and make $100 million through an exhibition boxing match. Now, this might sound like an amazing success story, something that you would see in a movie, but something changed after 2017 that ruined all that. What changed in Conor McGregor's mind? Now, what I'm going to share with you in this video is the dangers of incremental degradation. And this is the one thing that kills high performance more than anything else. So if you're a high performer, you need to pay attention to this video because it's going to save you a lot of hurt. To explain incremental degradation, I need to tell you a story, a common business allegory. And business in this story is called Candy Corp. Candy Corp is a business that sells candy. They do $100 million worth of revenue every single year. The CEO, he's had an amazing career and he's ready to retire and play golf in Mexico. He hands the keys to the company to a young executive and says, look, you're in charge. I'm done with this. The young executive is known for cutting costs. That's how he builds the value up of companies. He just cuts costs. So his first line of business is to gather up all the managers, all the heads of every single department into a meeting. He says, hey guys, look, Candy Corp has been doing well for the past 100 years. Chomp is our best seller. But did you know that ingredient 5 in Chomp is costing this company $10 million every single year? And I did a little bit of research. We can get a very similar ingredient in India for about $2 million. That will save us $8 million. Did you know that? Now, everybody starts looking around at each other. They're like, well, we go to great lengths to ensure that the quality of the product remains the same. We make sure that the perfect ratio of each ingredient is in every single candy. And we've been using ingredient 5 for the past 100 years, so we're not too comfortable with this. The executive goes, listen, I've got something for you. We're gonna do a taste test. We will get the original Chomp, untempered with, and we'll compare it to ingredient 5 from India, and we'll give it to our customers. Get 10,000, just a small sample of customers, and see if they could tell the difference between the two candies. And if they can tell the difference, I promise you, we won't make any changes, and we'll leave it at that. But if they can't tell the differences, we'll go forward with the plan and implement ingredient 5 from India. And you know what I'm going to do with the profits that we save? I'm gonna give it to you guys as a raise. The whole room explodes. Everybody's happy, everybody's clapping, everybody's excited. It seems like a good idea. What can go wrong? So they go forward with the plan. The taste test is a success. The customers are none the wiser. They can't tell the difference between the original and the new one. A couple of weeks roll by, nothing changes. The executive gets everybody in for a meeting again. Did you know that ingredient 7 is costing this company $15 million? But if we get ingredient 7 from Taiwan, we can save $13 million. And do you know what I'm going to do with all that money? You guessed it right. We're all going to get it. Everybody's excited again. And they implement the taste test once again. The taste test is a success. Customers can't tell the difference. They can't tell shit. They continue with the plan. So they do several iterations of these changes. Changing this ingredient with that ingredient, changing this ingredient with that ingredient. And customers just can't tell the difference. The CEO is celebrated as a business genius. He becomes Forbes CEO of the year, gets $25 million raise in salary from stock options, and it's just business is booming. He's just living large. Then all of a sudden something happens. The company stock crashes. It plummets out of nowhere, kind of like Bitcoin. It just crashes out of nowhere. People stop buying it. It goes from position 1 to position 15. Chomp is no longer successful. People are not buying it. They're throwing it out. The CEO gathers everybody for an emergency meeting. He's like, guys, we need to figure out what the hell is going on. Marketing, what are you doing? You guys are messing this up. What are you doing? Why aren't you marketing this properly? They're like, hey, we're marketing it exactly how we've been marketing for the past several years. We're actually spending a bigger budget to market this product, and it's not working. It's a product quality. What's happening? You must be doing something to the product. You're putting something else in there. No. We've been following the blueprint. We've done the taste test. We've followed your exact blueprint. Nothing's changed. So he's confused. He's like, I don't know what the hell's going on. Like, what's going on? Out of frustration, he goes to the lunchroom to think about the problem. He looks on the table and he sees Chomp. He picks it up, opens the wrapper, and pops it in his mouth. Oh, it's delicious. Oh, it tastes so good. What are these people tripping about? Like, this tastes exactly the same as it's tasted ever since I was young. Like, it can't be the candy. But then he realizes that the candy he had was the original chomp, the very first version. He's like, oh wait, let me get the new one. He gets the latest iteration, opens it up.
I'm so sorry.
The new version is completely different from the original version. So his mind is going crazy. He's like, how can this be? We've done a taste test for every single iteration. What's happening? And then he realizes his error. Every single time they tested the candy, they tested it against the previous version and not the original. So iteration 3 was against iteration 2. Iteration 4 was against iteration 3, and so on. They never tested the new version with the original. So over the course of several years, there was a decline in quality that was so incremental that they didn't realize until they reached a tipping point. Malcolm Gladwell talks about the tipping point. It's the point of no return where something tips and turns into something completely different. In chemistry, you might call this the catalyst of a reaction. You do some chemical reaction and something happens and something amazing happens. That's a tipping point. So the candy reached a tipping point in which it just became too unbearable and people didn't want to buy it. The CEO decided to get the meeting and tell everybody we're reverting back to original candy. And after 2 years, business was booming again. They were back to number 1. The lesson in this story is incremental degradation is a killer. Incremental degradation is what happens when you forget about the basics. Jeff Olson in his book, The Slight Edge, talks about the slight edge concept, which is basically how small things compound through time. And when leveraged through time, the effects can be disastrous. Let's say you are someone who likes smoking. One cigarette, you can have it. It's not gonna kill you. It's not gonna do anything. Your body's probably not gonna realize that anything's wrong, but it's gonna poison you just a little tiny bit. Let's say you increase your cigarettes. You start having 2 cigarettes a day. Just a little bit worse. You go to a pack a day. Now that's not healthy, but you can still survive for a long time having a pack of cigarettes a day. Let's say you do this over the course of 20 years. You're having a pack a day for 20 years. Now the effects on your body are disastrous. Your lungs are ready to explode out your freaking chest, right? You've got lung cancer because of the compounding effect. The small incremental changes leveraged through time create disastrous outcomes. The problem is you don't realize these incremental changes because you often just reflect on how you felt yesterday. You don't look at how you felt 10 years ago or how things were 10 years ago. You don't look at the original state, just as the CEO forgot to compare each candy to the original candy. So this is incredibly important for high performers. You want to look at everything you do. You want to look at your team, people that are operating underneath you. You want to look at your own ability, like in terms of, are you learning new things at the same rate that you did when you were younger? Are you as effective? How good is your time management? How good are your use of mental models and protocols that you've created? How are your systems? Even your personal health. How often are you going to gym? What's the quality of your workouts? We tend to forget the basics. The basics are crucial. Conor McGregor likely forgot the basics between 2017 and now. The success kind of blinded him. He probably didn't train the way he used to. He wasn't as hungry as he was. He didn't surround himself with the original coaches or people he had. The people he has now are probably yes men that agree to everything he does because they want to, join the ride and have the money. He's probably not training as hard as he once did when he had no money. He was a plumber in Dublin. The basics are crucial. Malcolm Gladwell talks about this again in Outliers. Talks about the 10,000 hour rule. To become a master, typically you need at least 10,000 hours of deliberate practice in a craft. Now, many of those hours are covering the basics, doing the same things over and over and over again. LeBron James still practices his shots. Tiger Woods still does the basics in golf. As a high performer, you need to remember what got you to the position that you're at. You can't have this hubris. You can't allow your ego to get too inflated where you think that you don't need the basics anymore. You always need the basics. And one of the best ways to ensure that you are taking care of everything in your life is to take audit of your life, a complete audit of your life. Now, I cover taking an audit of your life in my membership. But for now, just make sure that you are covering the basics. Now do this and I promise you'll be one step closer to living and dying well.